Hello. Let's get this in focus. There we go. Nice. Right. So, thank you for everyone who's got in at the start. Appreciate it. It's nice to see you guys. My man Peaceful Guy jumped in straight away. I'll take that as a compliment. I had some audio issues in the last couple of streams, so it'd be really helpful for me if you guys watching can just say if the background music isn't too loud and if my voice is in sync with my video. I had some real problems with it just flopping straight out of sync, just like that. Yesterday and the day before, yesterday and the stream before, which is really frustrating. So just give me a shout if it's all good at some point. That'd be really handy. Oh, it's good. I'm quite enjoying it. I've been enjoying the streams. Actually. So I'm going to be doing some coding ones soon. I talked about this every time, but I do mean it. I'm planning some stuff. I've got some things coming up, and I thought, oh no, a little out of sync. Oh. Like, how far out of sync? I suppose I could watch it on my phone. I'm going to apologise for this right now, but I need to get this right, otherwise it's just going to go on for ages and be a real pain. So I'm going to have a look myself, see if I can figure out what the issue is. Thank you for all the kind comments. I really appreciate it, by the way. Bear with me. I'm just going to mute myself. Oh, that's so annoying. Right. We're fixing this. I will be right back. What about now? That's even worse. Right, test again. Right, test again. That's closer. Right. Hopefully, that's it. Right. Hopefully, that's it. That's still not close enough. I don't know what the problem is. I really don't know what the problem is. I know this is like top tier content, but I really want to get this sorted. Test again. Right, maybe this time it's going to be better. Test again. Right, maybe this time it's going to be better. It was still not quite right, and it should be spot on. Oh, that'll do. That'll do. I think. Let me know what you think. Sorry, I'm just watching myself. It's really bad. Righty ho. Let's go with that, and hopefully it's okay. I don't know what to do to fix it. The offset of the audio to the video is like so different. When I record, it only needs to be like, I don't know, 300 milliseconds or something, and now I've got it all the way up at 700. So we'll see if we get the same problem as we did last time. Anyway, let me know if it gets really bad or if it's intolerable. We're going to crack on for now. It's Saturday night, so I am just having a cheeky lager in the evening here. Thank you everyone for joining. I appreciate it. I've had a few questions already, which is really great. So yeah, thank you very much for that, guys. Let's get started. So I vaguely thought we might sort of talk about, you know, creating content and stuff, but you know, we're going to talk about whatever we fancy. So thank you to Quarto, who said my videos on API scraping. I mean, I'm really pleased with that. That was the main idea of that video, was to just, I know it's not perfect, but it was great to be able to show people there's another way. That you can do things. I think from my experience anyway, a lot of people just overlook that. So that's basically why I wanted to do that video, and I'm pleased that it's got traction and it's doing well. So yeah, that's really cool. Am I a data scientist? No, unfortunately not. I'd love to learn more about making stuff and, you know, things out of the data, but I'm not. I just mainly get data. I do basic analysis, but no more than that really. Oh dear. Have I tried mobile dev? No, I haven't actually. I'm mostly interested in, other than grabbing data and doing stuff with it, back-end APIs and stuff. That's what I make. I find that the most interesting. I never write in chats. I know this message was a while ago, so thank you very much. So I really appreciate it, and I thank you for dropping by. That's fantastic. You recently got a dev job. Really? That's cool, Franco. If you can, put a bit more information in the chat. I'm sure me and other people will find it interesting. Or if you don't want to, for whatever reason, that's totally cool. I'm really pleased though that you managed to do that. That's great, man. That's great. That's great. Hey, Etche's back. Hello, man. How's it going? Hello. How you doing? Do I have another job other than YouTube? Yeah. I suppose I have 3 jobs, if you count YouTube, freelancing, and my day job, I suppose. All very closely linked, though. All very closely linked. I do the same sorts of things across all of them. How long have I been programming? I'd like to answer that question in 2 ways. Since school. Stream is in sync and you're in focus. Hey, you missed all the stuff at the beginning where it really was badly out of sync. And I'm in focus because I've not touched the focus button since I got myself in focus. So there we go, we're at a win already. I might try and mess with the lights a bit more, maybe make it look a bit better, because this light is just shining off my forehead at the moment. And you know, can't have that. I need to look good on these streams. I started programming in school or college in the UK, so like 17 with Pascal and music. Yeah, and I got the music working. I don't want it. It's just supposed to be in the background to fill in the gaps when I'm not talking, so it shouldn't be too loud. Yeah, I started with Pascal. We made like a GUI database CRUD app. It was boring as hell. I hated it. I didn't care, basically. And then, I don't know, maybe 10 years after that. So since I've really started programming again, maybe 6 years in Python. I reckon that 5 or 6. I should be way better at it as well, but like, I'm all self-taught, you see, so you fill in the gaps when you get to them. Oh, Pascal. Yeah, yeah. I've got the program somewhere on a USB stick, I'm sure. I keep meaning, I've said this before, to like try and get it to start up again, but I have no idea what version it will be. I don't even know. I mean, Pascal was like a big thing, but that was 20 years ago. Shit, I'm that old now. Yeah. If I can get demonetized for drinking alcohol on stream, who knows? Doesn't matter. It's interesting though. There's this massive part at the beginning of learning to code that just sucks. So many people get stuck there. I did as well. Twice, I reckon. Once at the very, very beginning with Pascal, I was like, I just don't like this. Ironically, actually, not ironically or unironically, when I was doing that at college, one of my friends I did A-levels. If you're in the UK, you'll know what that is. It's good now with the music. Peaceful guy, thanks man. I messed around with the audio sync a lot. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's good enough. When we get to about 50 something minutes, I watched a playback on the last one. Sorry, I'm deviating. That about 56 minutes, my video froze, and then my audio and video were like 3 seconds out of sync. I have no idea why that happened. I tried to look it up yesterday, but I didn't really get that far. So we'll see if it happens again. If it does, if I go well out of sync, shout, because I'll know what time to look back and I'll be able to try and fix the problem. I'm streaming on Linux, and I think that's probably the issue. I've got my DSLR plugged into like a cheap HDMI capture card into thingamajigger, but I record like this and it's not a problem, so who knows. Yeah, so when I was at college and I was learning to program the first time with Pascal, I did A-levels, so I did computing, physics and something else. German. And I know I can't speak German. I did no work at college whatsoever at all. But my friend did a different course and it was all about web design. And I think he started off, I don't know what language it was. Anyway, I wish I'd have done that. Although if I'd had done that, it would have been, you know, my channel would have been John Rooney, JavaScript developer. Who knows? I'm glad it's not that. Ugh, JavaScript. Well, no, I think you can stream on Linux. Well, I am streaming on Linux. So, I mean, it does work. But I wonder if that's part of the problem. I think some of the Twitch streamers that I watch that do programming, like TJ, I think he streams on Linux. But I think the biggest one at the moment, the Primogen, I think he actually streams on a Windows PC that does his work on a Linux machine. So it's just like sends it over. And it's interesting, I want to find out what the problem is. You're thinking about starting out as a developer. Yeah, we talked about this, yes, didn't we? My main advice, man, just start something. Doesn't matter what it is. Well, like, you know, if you want to be a developer, don't start a grass cutting business. You never know. You might end up cutting grass for someone who's the lead dev in some company. Anyway, that's really far-fetched. I would say, given what we were talking about yesterday, actually, and today, do Node, man. Do Node. Do Node and JavaScript. Just work on it. Get it going. Put the hours in. Push through all the boring shit. I'll start Pascal. Yeah. I'll send you my project to start with. And you can learn from that. Oh dear. Frank, I'm web scraping bookshops for a company. Yeah, cool. Sometimes you find, yeah, that's the best way. If you can get it, that's the best way. Depending on how much information there is, like if it's only a few pages, passing the HTML is super quick and easy as well. But if there's hundreds of pages, quite often it's just so much quicker and easier just to ignore the HTML and go through the, just make the same requests that the front end's making to the back end. Especially obviously if it's a JavaScript front end, that's more of a pain. I was looking up Node.js. Yeah, they're very good to learn. My advice, if you don't know any programming at the moment, really, and your end goal is just to get a job as a developer as quickly as possible, Node, JavaScript, Node and React, realistically. Node and React. They're just so in demand. I mean, obviously, I don't know what it's like in where you guys live, but in the UK, they're in demand. In the US, they're in demand, and that's what people are using. That's what people want. Python's great, and if you will be able to find jobs with Python, but it's just not the same. Python's more. It does exist. It does exist in the jobs, obviously, like Django and stuff. But there's just more people that use. Like if you know React, well, that's front end really. But if you know React, you're hireable. And I don't think, in the current climate right now, if you know React well enough to be able to put a portfolio together of stuff that you can build, you'll never be unemployed. And Node's just the same sort of thing, really. I think that's the best start. That's the starting point. Honestly, if I was starting now to learn programming, I didn't know anything, unless someone. Well, actually, no, I was in that position. I picked Python. Yeah, I don't know, actually. Knowing what I know now and what I know that all the languages can do, probably say JavaScript. Although I don't like JavaScript. But then, it doesn't matter if you like it or not. If you can write stuff in it, you get good end results, you're hireable, you get a job, you get paid. You can relate to yeah, I know, David. It's so bad. It's like that bit at the beginning, which is actually quite large. You just can't do anything. You can't do anything. You don't know what you're doing, and everyone gives that really annoying advice. They're like, "Oh yeah, just build your own projects," and I've done that as well. But like, what? And I can't. So what am I supposed to do? It's tough. That's one of the reasons why I quite like web scraping, because you can start off with like 6 lines of code and then you can just build and add and add and add and add. But there's always that bit at the beginning where you're like, you have to Google, how do I do this? What does this mean? You just have to push through all the time. For learning, I say, try. At the very, very beginning, you have to go through those boring courses of the general how to use this language. You just have to do it. But don't get stuck doing it. And then try and follow some videos, and once you've watched enough, you'll know which ones are good and which ones aren't. And then copy line by line as you go through, write it out, and then go back to it and then try and do it, but for different things. So if you've made, I'm not sure this is a great example, but let's say you make a book app. I'm not sure this is the best example. Let's say you've made a book app. Try going through it again, but instead of books, make it a different product. So start to change the data in there. So when you've changed something in it and it doesn't work, you've got the two things to compare to. So if your products, whatever product you make is one thing, and the book version works, but the one that you did doesn't, you can compare the two and you can figure out where you've gone wrong. That's one of the things that I like to do. But you just got to push through. What about Django? Do you think it's in demand? Less so. Out of all the Python ones, I think there's more Django jobs. There's some pretty big sites built in Django. Karim, hey, thanks for the video. I really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. Imagine you need to pack what you scraped into a shelf, and send it to a client app. Not quite sure what you mean, man. I think the translation on the word shelf isn't quite there. But I think I understand what I would do. What I do is I build my own API that I control how the input data looks and the output data, and then I send that output off to the client in whatever form it is. And input is all the different sources where I've pulled the data from, and then I make sure when I push them in, they're all in that format. So then you end up with a big database of your own in the middle of data that is in the right way that you want it, that you can then just easily push out to the client application or whatever. I think that's what you mean. Hey, how you doing? I'm good. Good. About the Valley of Despair, the Odin project. I've heard really good things about the Odin project. Never used it myself though. Pretty easy to get a job with this path. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React. It is. Each one of those is a big topic though. But yes, that it would be the way, as I said before. Companies that work with data, as I mean, will probably have jobs in Django. Yeah, there's, I've definitely seen, because I always keep an eye out. If I ever have enough of this, you know, talking to you guys all the time, trying to make content that you'll actually watch, and I'm like, sod this, I'm just going to go into corporate or something. Never going to do that. I always have a look. There's quite often a few Django jobs pop up around me. Although I'm in the UK and in the southeast, it's just like pretty rich for this sort of thing. So that does help. Automate the boring stuff, pretty cool. I really like that. I've done that one as well. Beyond the basics resources. There's another book that I used before and that I recommended. Is it Python Crash Course? Or Crash Course in Python? Yeah. Who's it by? Eric Mathers. Python Crash Course. That's a good book. I really liked that one. Although I didn't enjoy the game project. Because it wasn't what I wanted to do. But I found that when I was learning about classes and functions, I found that was a really good experience, although it's quite old now, the book itself. But I like that one. Have I tried any Google Chrome extensions? No, I don't really like that. I don't like putting whatever I'm trying to do in someone else's hands, really. That makes sense. Because if you think about how you actually have to get the data from a site, there's nothing that a Chrome extension is just a poor wrapper for everything else. Like, if you know how to do it anyway, I think they're for people that like want to pull the table information off a site once a day without writing any code. I could be wrong. I've never used one. So what I am going to do is on one of the streams coming up, not sure when, is try one of those paid scraper API things where you give it the URL and it gives you the data back, because they often have proxies as well built in. So I'm going to give one of those a go, and I thought I'd do it on stream. It'll be interesting for you guys, because I'll just buy some credits or whatever and we'll just crack on and have a poke around so you guys can see. I've had a couple I've got a couple of those companies in mind. I don't know whether I should ask first. I don't know. I don't think I need to, right? If I just do it and I pay for it, what difference does it make? I don't want it to be sponsored though, because obviously I want it to be completely all of us to go through it and go, what happens if we do this? That's the plan anyway. But I need to really think about it, because if it's unstructured as a live stream, it'll just be really bad, and I'll just be, there'll be minutes and minutes of just me staring at the screen, not knowing what's happening, which I tried to avoid. That's boring. Something like that though. I think that might be quite interesting. Any cool projects and videos coming up? No, it's all boring, but I need you to watch it start to finish anyway for YouTube. Of course. They're all interesting. I always, every time I get a good idea, anytime I get an idea, I write it down. My ideas list is so long. I just keep going back through them and going, no, that one sucks. I'll make that one, I did talk about some of them yesterday, but I suppose I could mention them again. Hang on one sec. Hey Abdul, thank you, man. Thanks for joining. Ruthless. Yeah, well, you know. You know how it goes, mate. The ones I'm leaning towards at the moment are my sort of requests for intermediates, how to get a bit more out of it. So I think a lot of people just use it at face value. Have you thought about doing it live and editing out a short video? I have, I have done that. Yeah, I have thought about that. Love from India. Hey, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that you enjoy the content, and thanks for tuning into the live stream. Appreciate that, and for chatting. Chatting is important. Thank you. Yeah, have a look. Have a look. See if you can find it somewhere. I found it useful. As I said, it's like 6 years old now, but you know, classes and functions don't change. So yeah, I don't actually use classes that much though, to be honest. Depends. I'm not a massive OOP guy. Maybe I should be, but then you know my code's not perfect. I tend to get to a point where it works and it's reliable, and then I don't bother after that. I find this you can do so much like refining and optimizing, which is great, but at the end of the day, if it works reliably, even if it's a bit slower and it gets the job done, client's happy or you're happy, move on, I guess. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, so video wise, the intermediate requests thing I've talked about before, where I show you like it's really easy to work with the headers, and you can add hooks into the session to run a certain function when you make a request. And the really useful thing for that is if you're working with an API that has a rate limit or something, they often send the rate limit number back in the headers. So you can write a function to deal with all of that, and you can just do it once and done, and it's really cool. Juan, thank you. Hello, man. Videos are awesome. Hey, I'm really glad that you enjoy them. And hello from the UK to Argentina. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Python mindset? What? I think that's more my mindset. Just get it to work. Hack it together. I've put together some code that I've done it, and I've looked at it, and it's like, this is just not the best way to do this. God, does it work? Yes. All right, moving on, because otherwise I get stuck on it for hours. I was doing that earlier actually. I've been building a Django app to integrate into Shopify, and I was just working through some stuff, and I was like, this can't be the best way. It's like, it works. I don't care. I'll come back to it later. Let's move on. Watch me leverage. Yeah. You'll get there, David. Don't worry. Just keep practicing, man. It's fantastic. Everyone liked the stream. Yes, everyone. I'm not worried about that. I just want people to come in and chat and have a good time at the moment, to be honest. So yeah, thanks to everyone that's joined. Tech with Tim. Yeah. I like. I watched a bit of Tech with Tim before. I think it's quite good. He's definitely got some good solid concepts. And obviously, I would imagine probably better at coding than I am. Is what it is. Or appears to be. YouTube can be deceptive. I recommend some channels to start learning Django. Yes, absolutely I can. So, not the most interesting, and I mean this in the really nicest way, but the guy really knows his stuff, is a guy called Code with Stein. This guy, he knows, is it like this? He knows the Django in and out, and he works through it all methodically. They're all really long videos, so you really have to be right in the right mindset, but he knows so much cool stuff. And the other guy is, I'm gonna have to look him up, hang on. Bug Bites. Small YouTuber. Does Django, along with a bit of other stuff as well. Those two guys I found really, really useful, really handy. They know it well, and they're good. They're good at teaching it. So if you want to learn Django, have a look at those guys too. What would you say you need to work on to make your code more optimized? My code? Just, you know, probably what I would do is, once I've figured out how I'm solving a problem, I just try and hammer that solution home. And then I find that maybe I should have gone back and I should revisit it. And sometimes I do, and I go, gosh, that was just the worst way to go about that problem. But then, you know, revisit it and really question why you've made those decisions and go, actually, why have I done that? That's extra lines of code for no reason, all that sort of stuff. I do that where I can, but not always. Sometimes if it works, I just leave it because it's working. And it doesn't need to be further optimized. It's a job that runs once a day. It doesn't matter if it takes 65 seconds and it should take 25 seconds. Who cares? It works. It's reliable. Is web scraping a full-time job? Not really. But it's a good skill to know. And it exposes you to a lot of other stuff. Web, APIs, information, data, databases. So it really will give you a good sort of a leg to stand on type thing. Why are you so underrated? I think I'm overrated. Don't know how I got this far, to be honest. Appreciate the comment though. I've seen my stuff pop up in Reddit a few times. Don't think I'm quite a superstar yet. Why is less code a thing or even desirable? Less code, I suppose less code isn't. Well, it is. Maybe it is. Less code would mean it's more efficient, and efficiency is what you're after. I think the point that I'm trying to make is that if you've written something to do a specific job, it doesn't have to be. It's not on. Can't think of what the words I'm trying to say. It doesn't have to be. Why he's so overrated? I have no idea. I don't know, because I made a bunch of boring videos and some of them stuck, and now I have like 20 people watching me talk crap. I don't know. I appreciate all of you though, by the way. Really do. I enjoy this as well. It's good fun. I've lost my train of thought, so I'm sorry it's gone. Hey John, how's it going, man? Thanks for dropping by again. Appreciate it. Go back to some of your older code and cringe. I know, man. I do as well. But this is why. Do you know what? I think that's really important, though. And I think that's a really good point, because I think it's really important that you have that. You go back and you see your stuff. All right, man. Cheers, Etche. Thanks for dropping by again. Well, it's late, you know, and I know I'm streaming late for people that are in the eastern side of the world for me. So appreciate all you guys that have stayed up or still decided to kick around. So cheers, Etche. I'll see you later, man. I think it's really important to have that. So like, you can go and you can, especially near the beginning, where you can look back and say, this is how I solved this problem 2 months ago, and now I can do this, and it gives you a kind of cool kind of like, yeah, that's like a good way of seeing your progress. Because the progress is so small and incremental, it's like working out. You just don't notice the day-to-day stuff. But if you compare last month to this month, you'll notice a difference. Let's go assembler code. All right, yeah, no, maybe that's wrong. Okay, yeah, I don't know enough about assembly and C++. I'm talking about compiled languages, maybe. I don't know. Early here in Australia, early indeed. Optimizing contained in every solution. Yeah, I know, totally. Yeah. Although, when you say if it works, don't have to go back and and I know I've said this before, but I've been a client of people that have written code for a specific purpose, and I found that it needed to be more optimized, because as I was using it for its purpose more and more and more, I found the holes. So, you know, it's a thing. It is a thing. It is. Working as a web scraping freelancer, I want to learn advanced things. Data engineering. So, I think you've got you have a choice to make. So if you want to go into data side of stuff and do that, then I think that's a really good idea. I think that'd be a great solution, because then you can provide people with either you're going to be employable to a company, or you can provide people with a full service. So you can be like, what do you want to know? So it'll be like, you could say, not sure this is a great example, but let's say a company came to you and said, I need to know as much as I can about my competitors. You could do the whole thing end to end. You could go, yeah, I'll do that for you. I'll provide you with a report every week about everything that they're doing. So you go to their site, pull their data, get their new products or what their new services, all that stuff, and you can combine, you can like make yourself a massive database of all their competitors, and then you can do some really cool stuff with the data. I suppose that's more data analytics, but that's the sort of thing that you could go into. Or if you don't want to do that, I would definitely just go into building web applications, back-end APIs. It's always in demand. People always want apps that connect other things together, and it's the web scraping skills are there basically. So yeah, so one of those two, something like that. Play your mobile with a 10-year-old PC. Hey, my PC 10 years ago was amazing. Don't worry about. I remember buying, gone on a nostalgia trip. I had it was an AMD Athlon. I had the 2600 plus XP, or was it the... Anyway, it was whatever one it was. It was the one that all you had to do was adjust the voltage and the clock frequency, and it was exactly the same as the 3200 XP, and it cost like loads less. I remember building... I had this horrible big blue case. Horrible looking thing. Ugh. Over in NYC. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you got there. I suppose, why would I know? Nice, though. I appreciate you coming by again, John. I use Go for small and effective APIs. Oh, someone started the Go conversation. Hang on. I really like Go. I'm learning more and more Go as we go along. I think it's great. Completely different to Python. I think that's why I like it so much, and I think it's really good for writing APIs as well. Although I'm trying to learn how to do it without any real extra outside packages. I'm trying to do it all in with a net/HTTP package. That's pretty cool. There's like 4 ways to write a function in JavaScript. Yeah. JavaScript's a funny thing. It's a beast. I think, I can't remember, I was listening to something the other day, or someone was saying something, or did I watch a video? I don't remember the source. But someone said something like the fact that JavaScript runs as fast and as well as it does is like a modern miracle. You created a cool Telegram bot with my code. Really? Nice. Nice one. That's great. I love it when people tell me about stuff that they've made. I think that's really cool. I love hearing about viewer projects. In fact, I'd love to do that as a live stream as well, but I have to get people to willingly submit their code for annihilation by me. No, I'm only joking. By, having loads of people see it. But I think that's really cool. I don't use Telegram myself, but I know about it. Yeah, it's a nice one. What do I have to do to give Amazon not to give me a 503 error? I usually only have to use standard headers, user agent, really. Cover letter writer pro works. It gets names. I'm not sure. I might have missed what you said. Bulk cover letter. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Only issues resulting cover letters a bit. Cover letters are a funny thing. Honestly, I really don't like the... I don't know what it's like in other countries, but here I don't like the interview and hiring process at all. And the applying process is fairly miserable. But yeah, applying to a job is a full-time job. Applying to jobs is a full-time job in itself. Oh, USA, but UK works, but not the USA. That's interesting. I have to admit, and I did this with Indeed as well. I put a whole video out and I was like, I realised I was using the UK site and most people want the US one. I think it's slightly different. So I've not tried it. I always just go for the UK sites because that's where mine are based. So, yeah. I'd have to have a look, to be honest. See what the issue is. I don't think Amazon really cares about people scraping its data, though, to be honest, because in the end, all you're going to do is send people back to Amazon. That's all they want. Yeah. Right, hang on. Let me get this up. The interview of the hiring process is annoying in general. Yeah, I know. I've been on the other end of it, not in tech, when I was younger, in a different, and it's just like, the whole thing was miserable. And it was miserable for both parties because I had so many people that applied for, it was just a low level kind of job, but so many people applied for it that were just, I felt sorry for them, but they were just no, I don't know. I hope they found something that suited them. Actually, having said that, I've worked with plenty of people that I would never have hired, so maybe it's me. If you go back, would you choose a different IT path? Yes, I would have started at the very, very, very beginning. And I'd have been, I'd have been 30-something with 20 years experience. Realistically, no. Not really. The only thing that is I just wish that I had started a bit earlier, but you can't say that. So, but no, I've been really happy with the Python that I've learned, the Go that I'm learning, the work that I do, I mostly enjoy. So I can't really complain because learning Python and putting it into practice in my day job just opened so many doors for me. Tried automating the cover letter a bit. Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, because otherwise you just spend so much time writing your cover letter and tailoring your CV, and they don't even read it because the interviewer or the company reads the first 10 and yours was 11 and they never even look at it. That's tedious, but I guess it is what it is. Oh, you're trying to get a design job, are you? As in what, front end or I suppose UX? What user experience as in telling people how to lay out their websites? Or is that, you're not going to be using JavaScript, are you? I've been working as a Python developer for 5 years. I should be asking you for advice. I think if you've got 5 years Python experience working, then the world's your oyster. Pick whatever you fancy the most. I think either go into data, as in data analysis or engineering, or even, to be honest, with Python you can even go into DevOps if you're interested in that. Maybe you should explore that if you're not enjoying what you're doing at the moment. For me, I went for web apps and APIs. That's what I like to do. So, if you've got 5 years, man, pick something that you fancy doing and have a look and go for it. Learning MicroPython for embedded stuff. Hey, that's cool. 15th programming language. Jeez. Your brain must be able to absorb all the information. I don't know anything about MicroPython really. Is that for what's the word I'm looking for? Like oh, okay. I've just looked it up. Oh, on hardware. Yeah, like Arduino and microcontrollers and stuff. Nice. Do you know what? This is really nerdy and really geeky, but I'm actually going to build my own tiny split keyboard. Yeah. So I might bore you guys with that when I'm doing it. Or once I've done it, and I'll show you and I'll be like, this is the best thing ever. And I'll be typing at 10 words per minute. But apart from that, I haven't had any experience with stuff like that. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm looking forward to it. Nello, so I think, thanks, man. You've just jumped into never coded before. Cool. You're a lawyer coding now. Hey. I like to think nowadays you should always be able to do a couple of different things. Although having said that, if you're a lawyer, you can probably just be a lawyer and be done with it. But you know, interesting people to me are not that this applies to you, I've just gone off on a tangent, are people that, you know, do multiple different things. And I think combining coding combines with everything because everything's online. So go for it. That's really cool. I'm really pleased that you've joined us, man, and you've got some value out of my videos. That's nice. Python for IT security. That's an interesting one. How'd you build your web apps? Django. Because it's easy. I talked about this yesterday, Patrick. Not that you know that, because why would you? But I really like having loads and loads of control over what I'm doing. But what I like more is having something that's created really quickly. So that's why I use Django, because there's loads of boilerplate and all this stuff, but I can build a really simple MVP app really quick. And that's the most important thing. ESP32 processor programming. I'll have to look that up. That sounds pretty cool. Nice project. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's not even cheap, but you know, it's not that much money. But I've had to order the parts from abroad, and because our government decided to give the people the vote whether we should leave the EU or not, I'm going to get done for taxes. Is what it is. UX designers in layout and design of sites. Figma's a bit annoying. Clients always want to drive from the back seat. Yeah, I know. That's cool though. I'm interested in. I think UX is a pretty interesting thing, especially if you don't really. If you're a user and you don't notice and you don't think about it, I think that's good. I've come across sites and stuff for even bigger companies, and I'm like, why can't I click on this and go to this? Or why does this look like this when it shouldn't? Or this would be so much easier, more simple. So that's interesting. I hope it goes well for you, man. I hope it goes well. Hi, Oxamin Gaming. Hello. I've seen you before. Definitely been. Why don't you smile? I do. There you go. Also, the camera's pointing down at me at the moment, so I should probably I moved it out. Let's move it out. Drop it down. Oh, up you go. Oh. Any better? Get it in focus. I'm going to be accused of having a smudge on the screen again. Meanwhile, coders seem way more collaborative than designers. I guess so. I don't know. I don't know many web designers, to be honest. Try and stay out of those. I don't really have much to say about it. I haven't done a front end website ever. I just use Bootstrap, Bulma, etc., etc. I started trying to learn Vue because I was like, this will be great because I build APIs anyway. So if I learn some basic Vue, I'll be able to build a good front end or a decent enough front end for my, and I just gave up. There you go. What are your thoughts about building out Shopify apps? I have lots of thoughts about that. I work with Shopify every day. lots of different Shopify stores. There is money to be made. Unfortunately, it's one of those things again where anyone could put together a store and try and charge for it, and then that just puts a load of people off. If you can find some good clients, definitely. You'll need to know some JavaScript, because you need to inject stuff into the cart. That's a common one. And you'll need to know a little bit of Ruby. It's built on Rails. And also, when it comes to Shopify, I think their preferred option for building Shopify apps is... Oh, is it Node? Is it Node? It's definitely not Python, although you can do it. It's just it basically just embeds your site in theirs. Yeah, well, I like it. I don't do much of it now, obviously outside of my 9 to 5, but I built stuff that goes into Shopify, and so yeah, I think it's a good avenue to explore. It's just saturated. Same experience, yeah. What are your thoughts on SQL and NoSQL? I don't have an awful lot of experience with NoSQL. So, oh, the music stopped. We got to the end of the playlist. Let's find another one. Let's stick with copyright free for the moment. Don't want to get DMCA'd. Yeah, no, I've not really, like MongoDB and stuff, I've not really used it. Honestly, all I do is I use SQLite when I'm testing or for tiny little applications, and as soon as it becomes anything that I'm going to use, it's Postgres. And I do that because it's so easy. It's so easy to do. I know how to, and obviously I learned how to use the command line. Is it PSQL, PQSL, PSQL, whichever one, Postgres. So I just quickly set up a database. Done. It's on my local machine, and when I deploy, I use a managed Postgres database. You have to pay for it, but it takes everything out of your hands then. And again, this comes back to what I was saying about Django. It's just super easy to get something up quick. Is Go competitive with Python, or is it more of a Rust? Yeah, I don't think Go compares to Python, because if you're trying to do anything data related, you don't want to use Go. You want to use Python. Python pandas. You don't want to use Go. It just doesn't exist. It's not built for that. It's more of I'd say more Rust. Yeah, Go's really good for like terminal applications as well. The thing that's so good as well is it compiles into binaries that you can easily get. You can easily compile into Linux, Mac, and Windows binary. I'm going to do a video on that actually coming up soon as well. Although I'm not sure, Go's not got that big an audience, so you guys all just have to watch it for me. React? Yes, React. Not sure what the question was, but React is probably the answer. Oh, you're probably talking when I was talking about Vue. Yeah. Also, thanks for the Playwright videos. Cool. Yeah. I really like Playwright. I know it's just a Chrome browser controller, but I really like it. I think it's one of the best ones. Dev, hello. Thanks for joining me, man. Really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone stopping by. It's really cool. Really cool. Has it ever happened to you use the anti-blocking methods like proxy, but still the web browser gets detected? Okay, look up, if you're using Playwright, look up Playwright Stealth, because when the WebDriver controls the Chrome browser, there's a few like really obvious giveaways that a website can check for. So if you just remove them, you might get through. It's still really, they can still find out, but that will help you in a lot of cases. I think it's called Playwright Stealth. It's a fork of Puppeteer Stealth, which was written for the Puppeteer browser, which is Node controlled, I think. What's the best place to host the app and database? I use DigitalOcean. I use their app thing, app launcher thing. It's nice and simple. Oh, honestly, John, thanks man. Thanks for stopping by again, and good luck with your job search. I'm sure we'll speak again soon. You can let me know how it's going. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, there's I can't remember what it's called, app thing, which is pretty useful. You still need to know how to get all the environmental variables set up and everything like that. So it's not easy. It's not totally difficult. Django's a bit more of a pain because, or I found anyway, because there's just so many different. There's more settings that you need to change to get it to work, but it's totally doable. And they do you they can do you a hosted Postgres as well. So like a simple app and a hosted Postgres instance will run like $20 a month, but that will be like, you can do so much on that. And I put things on that, but I'm like, I'm running it for a client, so I'm charging anyway. But if you don't want to pay, use Heroku. Heroku is really good to start because you've got the free tier, and you also have a free tier for Postgres as well, but it's quite limited, but it's still there. So if you just want to learn about trying to deploy, use Heroku because it'll be free. But you can deploy on Heroku with SQLite, but it will delete your database every time. Yeah. How important is it? Backend data structures and algorithms. You know what? I'm not really that sure. Data structure, I think they are, but I don't think you need to put so much emphasis on them to start with. I think that's something that you'll naturally get into when you need to. Like, I mean, I don't know if this is totally true. It's just kind of how I feel about it, but to me, it's one of those things that once you get working, doing it properly, and you're working away and you're doing your thing, they'll naturally become a point where you need to learn a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. So maybe data structures more than algorithms. But I'm not totally sure, to be honest. Will someone just chime in and let me know if my audio and video is still in sync, because we've passed that time where it went out the last few times. Save me having to watch myself on stream again. Thank you. Has anyone got any experience with GraphQL? I've been looking at it a lot recently. I have mixed feelings. Just wondered if anyone's used it. I thought initially, after I got some good queries written up, and I was like, this is really good. It's in sync. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Whatever I did was obviously helped. I really liked it, but then I've really struggled with some other stuff as well. I'm just a REST API kind of guy, but you can get you can make some really good stuff with GraphQL, so I wanted to learn about it. Have I made music in the past? Yeah, and it will never see the light of day. Sorry. You're learning mixing tracks, or you're just saying, oh, okay. Yeah, I was never really any good at. I was alright at playing, but recording and mixing, I never put the time and effort into. I did play in a covers band for a while, which I really enjoyed, but it just absorbs so much of your time, and you're reliant on other people that are unreliable or can be unreliable, and you have to play songs that people want to hear, and there's only so many times that you can play Sex is on Fire by the Kings of Leon before you want to smash everything up and just go home. Oh, they're back-end jobs for junior positions. Yeah, of course. Yep. There are. You need to learn. I would pick something, a specific framework, probably Node. If you don't know Python already, probably Node. Just learn how to build out APIs. CRUD APIs and do all sorts of things. Just be good at that, get working on that, and you'll find some Currently trying to parse JSON from a graph. Yeah. Yeah. I found the parsing of it, what I got back was good. The queries I didn't really like. Looks good for object-based communication. Yeah. Initially I thought it was going to be onto a winner because you could do bulk as well, and you could get back specific bits of data, and you could like work your queries. I just think it's got too many flaws. If it was that good, it would have replaced REST ages ago, but it hasn't, and I don't think it will. But some places, like Shopify, really like to use it. I don't know. I'm not going to give up. I don't think I'm going to write any GraphQL APIs anytime soon, though. Stick to REST. How can we implement ordering our table? Hang on, I've missed a question. Do I use the Django ORM? Yes. Yes. For what I do, it's perfectly acceptable to not have to not write your own SQL queries. I think the point you want to cross over to writing your own SQL is when you have reached the limits of the ORM, and that's a hard thing because that's only going to come at like when you're getting loads and loads and loads of traffic. So if you're at that point, it's a good problem to have. But generally in companies, you might find that. But the problem is that once you get to that point, undoing everything that the ORM does is a pain in the arse. So if you're writing stuff as a one-man band, I would 100% just use the Django ORM, unless of course you're fluent in SQL. And if you are, congratulations. I am not. I use the ORM. How do we implement ordering on table data with Django Serializers? Serializers is in the DRF, as in the REST framework, or I think on the models you can just put it on the model, ordering such and such order. I'd have to look it up. I don't remember specifically, but I'm pretty sure you can just put it on the model. Yeah. Well, I'm going to take a real short break. About that. So, we're in the middle of another heat wave in the UK. It's like 33 degrees or something. Doesn't help being sat in a room with loads of lights on. Especially that one. Don't know if that was the right light to buy, to be honest. Anyway, doesn't matter. What's the best solution for dynamic websites? As in pulling the data. Check for the API first if you can get it by going into inspect element, network tools, XHR requests, refresh the page. If you don't see anything straight away, a good tactic that I find is to just click around, keep looking and finding different links. You will see stuff pop up eventually. If that doesn't work, you can load it up with headless Chrome. Quite often, if you need to do that, I find that you can just use the headless Chrome like Playwright for just the main page, and you can get everything from there. How do you handle burnout? Don't feel like going back. No, I totally understand. I think I have my way of dealing with that is I get to a point where I have to do things. I have to get something done, and I delay it and I delay it because I don't feel like doing it, and then eventually it just stresses me out too much. I have to do it, and then my work could be subpar because of it. So now I really just try and plan out everything that I have to do, but I'm quite forgiving. So like if I plan off for a Monday night, I'm like, right, I'm going to do X amount of hours on this project that I need to do. And I get there and I'm like, I'm not feeling it. I'll just do a little bit and I'll go, and then I'll leave it. I won't force myself to do it, because I think when you force yourself to it, you can get burnt out. But honestly, I don't have to code too much, so it's not that big a problem for me. I don't take on loads of projects that I can't do, so I'm I'm quite conservative about what I take on. With REST, you always have the description overhead. Yeah, yeah, I think so. What's the ORM? Yep, Object Relational Mapper writes your SQL queries for you, essentially. One ORM that I did a video on recently, Tortoise, that I really quite liked, because it's like Django, but it's async, and you can use async AIO SQLite as well, which is pretty good for hobby projects. Scraping websites from a casino, WebSockets. No is the answer really to that. Sorry, man. I stay away from betting sites just for a personal thing, really. They're also always heavily guarded as well. Yeah. Scraping streaming services. I don't think I've done much of that though. Oh, good question. I'll have to think about that one. I don't know really. I don't know. It must be. It must be, but I've never. Well, I know like Spotify has an API, so does YouTube. So there's there for it. Right. Have you guys talking front end again? We don't like JavaScript. We don't talk about JavaScript. There's WASM, which is WebAssembly, and I found this. I found it quite interesting. I don't know a lot about it yet, WebAssembly, but it gives you an extra option for front ends. And I found, or I was reading about, it was a package. It's for Go, but it's called Go App, and it's for building progressive web apps in WebAssembly with Go. I thought it looked really interesting. This is kind of what I'd love to look at next. I wonder if I can show you without doxing myself. Let's see if this works. So like, this is it. And you can do all this cool stuff. Now I don't know anything about this yet, but I'd love to learn about it. But you can do this like components, syntax. I mean, obviously this website's built in it. But one thing that I liked a lot was, I can't play this because, I don't think I can. Oh, don't know why it's not working, but you get all this stuff and it just plays this stuff, and this looks really quite cool. So this is the sort of thing that I'd love to learn more about now, to be honest. I think the Primogen built something with WebAssembly as well. That's pretty cool. Why Spring Boot used more often? That's a good question. I don't know much about Spring Boot. That's Java, isn't it? Spring Boot. Oh, I looked at this. WASM is nice. Don't exact. Yeah. You need to wrap it with extra one drawback. Yeah. Just joined and we're learning about Go app development. Hey, crazy fanatic man, how's it going? Welcome back. Yeah, I'm about to give you an absolute masterclass on Go app development. It's going to be so good. In half an hour, you'll all be professional developers hired by Google. I was just mentioning it because I found it really interesting. I'd love to learn more about it. I know nothing about it at the moment. I'd love to learn more. I always find these all these different ways of doing stuff, different frameworks I find interesting, like Spring Boot. Although I don't know anything about Java, so shut up, take my money. Yeah, wouldn't that be an amazing thing if all those promises that boot camps give you are actually true? Yeah, in 8 weeks you can become a totally know everything full stack developer. Yeah. Anyway, not ragging on them. I'm sure they do well and teach people some good stuff. Yeah, I find all these sorts of. Hang on, let's go back to this. Let's look at this one. I need to move my second screen because I'm looking around my microphone to change my screen. I always find looking at this sort of stuff really interesting, right? Because if we look at if we just kind of look at it on the sort of surface, let's have a look at this one. So we can find the demo code, REST service. You have all this stuff like, and I know this is not the same, but you can look at this and you can say, well, this is defining what sort of the package that is part of the program that it's part of. We've got our imports, which is just like Python, and the REST controller, that seems fairly self-explanatory. A greeting controller, so this is like, I guess, the function that handles it and does something with it. And there's a mapping, so this is the URL, this is the endpoint that it creates. So if we compare this to, I'm going to hide my screen every time I change, just so I don't accidentally, because I'm on my main PC where I do all my work, so just so I don't accidentally show off something. Compare it to this is Sanic, which is a Python framework, right? So if we look at this, you get your imports, you make your application. Where's the roots? The roots are the most interesting one. You create your roots, so it's all very similar. And I'm thinking about videos for stuff like this at the moment as well, where it's don't focus too much on if you're trying to learn web applications in Python, don't focus too much on what framework you're using, because once you learn how they work, it's all quite self-explanatory. Like Sanic has blueprints just like Flask, so if you know Flask, you can look at this and go, I know you can't see this, the chat is the chat in the way. I'm such a bad streamer. Anyway, you can just believe me. There we go. If you know Flask, you look at this and go, okay, and you'll have no problems. So that's what I like about it. Although I don't particularly like it's hard to explain. What is it? So you know how you do, let me find the roots again. This. So what I prefer is this. So you kind of like, you can keep all of your roots, your add roots, or in this case in a separate file. So you have basically just your roots file has all of your URL endpoints listed out, as opposed to your file having a load of functions with code in like this. So I prefer it to have it like this, where you specify them all at the end, and then you have the handler functions like that. That's what I like, and I think and that's how I do it in Go as well. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I've missed some. It was me mentioning Go earlier. I know you just have to mention Go once, and I'll go on about it forever. And I don't know an awful lot about it either. So, shut up and take my money. Hey, for you, man, it'll be free. Don't worry. Waiting for a boot camp? Yeah, you'd all be so disappointed. Good tip for using the Django documentation. Yeah. So this is the problem. This is the problem, right? And always hide my family photos. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about typing in a URL and having, like, you know, my work websites come up. Obviously just work, nothing else. Documentation. So where you want to get to is you want to get to a point where you can use the documentation and feel comfortable. And that's hard because it's not beginner friendly. The documentation almost never is. And that's for a good reason, because let's go back to the screen. That's for a good reason, because they don't want to make it like that. They want to make it as a comprehensive, this is a list of, I need to change my chat screen so it's white. Okay, and it doesn't matter. We'll just have to deal with it for now. They want to make it accessible, but also not totally like never done this before, beginner friendly, because if it's like that, you're going to end up with a load of docs that are going to be useless to a load of people. There was I listened to a Django podcast and they talked about it, and that's why there's quite a few people that do like basic Django application tutorials and stuff to help it. The best way that I can say with this, I wish they had a dark mode, they don't, is you have to follow a tutorial the whole way through. Screen swapping again, and one that I like is this one. Is on Mozilla. So what you'll, when you get through it, I can't get it so you can really see it properly, but it's on MDN Web Docs, and once you go through it, what happens is you get to the point where you have much more specific targeted questions, and you understand what the request object is, what the response object is, the routes or the views, and the other bits. So when you get stuck, what you can do is you can go to the Django documentation and you can go, I know that there's a thing that does this in the request object, or the response is supposed to be, or you go in how do I make my response from this view JSON? And you go into the documentation and you see, oh, it's there. It's in Django responses import JSON response or something like that. So you have much more targeted questions, and that's where the documentation for Django becomes really good. But you have to get to that point first. And I've said it before, I think, is that when you get to the point where you can basically learn something out of the documentation, you're doing really well. And I think that's where you should aim for. When I made a Sanic app not that long ago, I just went straight through the docs, perfect. And I knew it because I'd had the experience, like I showed you. It looks very similar to Flask. So you just have to get to that point. So the Mozilla ones are very good if you don't want to make... The only downside, right, with the tutorials is the apps are not always, generally useless and boring, and like, who cares? And this one is as well, the Mozilla one, because it's a library website. But you want to learn something, you have to put the work in. And as I said before, make a library one and then go back through it and make it something that you're interested in, you might use, and just change what you need to. So there you go. Rambled on about that for quite long. Am I still in sync, hopefully? This has been a good one. This is a longer one as well, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Yeah. I might be running out of things to talk about though. I'm looking through my list of stuff. Long list. Talked about that. Talked about that one. As game dev? No, not really. InSync, thanks man, I really appreciate that. No, it hasn't. Funny that. When I started learning, I never wanted to learn. I played loads of games. Loads. Can't play games anymore. Hurts my brain. I find it fascinating though, because I still don't totally understand how you can create a 3D world like that out of code, which is essentially looks like what we all write. Interesting. We talked a bit about the podcast, the Lex Friedman podcast with oh shit, I'm so bad with names sometimes. John Kramer, the guy that made Doom. Fascinating. VR space, yeah, that's where it's all heading to. There was in that podcast that we talked about yesterday that I mentioned, there was some really interesting talk about VR stuff as well. I would tell you, but I can't remember because I was walking. John Carmack, thank you. Yes, I was walking home, and it's 5 hours long, so I've listened to it in big chunks. Doesn't always go in. Fantastic, really fascinating man. I know I said this yesterday, but people that are knowledgeable and passionate about their topic, I can listen to them talk about anything, pretty much. Yeah. Pie game stuff. Yeah. If you do have a go, let me know how you get on. I just can't imagine it. I think of yeah, Carmack is a badass. Yeah, I know. There was the bit a bit near the beginning where he was talking about how he was making shareware games on the side whilst he was at college for money. I was like, wow, this guy was, and this was pioneer, not only just like little games, but really like fascinating stuff. And it's like, compared to what I was doing at college, that was some next level shit. Yeah, let me know if you next time we're on Crazy Man, if you do any pie game stuff. I've not really looked at it. I don't even know what you can do with it, to be honest. Do you know what? When I first always think about pie game, I can't get. I don't actually think about pie game. Think about the bloody turtle thing where you just draw stuff with a stupid turtle. I don't know why I get that in my head all the time. Are you self-taught? I am, 100%. Apart from, well, I do have technically 2 years college education. College as in UK college, not US college, down. US high school, I suppose. Education 20 years ago in Pascal. Which helped, I want to say, a really, really small bit, because when I started learning Python and teaching myself, I already knew what a loop was. And I knew what a for loop was because I'd done them before. But apart from that, yeah, I'm fully self-taught. I think it's perfectly fine. What year will Manchester United bring the title home? Definitely not this year. Probably, I want to say 10 more years. Because in 10 years, Klopp will have retired and Liverpool will suck again. City might have run out of money. Probably not. Gotta run. Hey man, non-linear sound. Thanks for joining. You've been contributing. Really appreciate it. I'll see you again next time, hopefully. I got to admit, I did enjoy Brentford beating United 4-0 today. That was good. It's nice that someone else is suffering as an Arsenal fan over the last however many years. What's the main difference between Python and JavaScript? I like Python and I don't like JavaScript. I don't really know. There's loads of stuff, loads of differences. JavaScript is good. I know. I don't personally like it, but you can do everything with JavaScript if you wanted to. Doesn't mean you should, but you can. Do you get too many ideas you don't feel like you can execute on them? I get something like that. I get loads of ideas, and then I start working on one, and I might put, I don't know, anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half, 2 hours into it, and then I go, this sucks. I don't want to do it. So I've either wasted that time, or I've just, what the idea was in my head didn't work out. So I'm assuming you mean video ideas, and if you don't, then I'm sorry, but I had an idea, and they just kind of come to me, and that's why I use Obsidian to write all my notes down. It's like Notion, but it's all in Markdown. And I was like, this is a cool idea for a video, and I thought it'd be quite fun. I thought, because I've been working on a Scrapey project where I was following specific links, which is where that video came from. I was like, what if we only followed off-site links? I was like, well, that's kind of like what the Google bot kind of does, crawls around and stuff. I thought, what if I could build a scraper that just finds the first link on a website that's off-site and follows it, and I'll give it like X amount of jumps and find out where we end up. But all that happened was the link that I found every time was just Twitter. I'd go on to, because I'd end up on someone's blog and I'd just end up with Twitter, and I was like, this is just not that interesting. And I couldn't get it to work properly either. Maybe I'll revisit it and repackage it. In the podcast, he clears up he wasn't the one that wrote the famous, yeah, nice. I remember that bit. Yeah, he's a really interesting guy. Brilliant. And he's like, oh yeah, you know, just code for like 12 hours a day and it's not that big a deal. It's like, my brain turns to mush after like 4 hours. I love Obsidian. Yeah. There's all this cool stuff that Obsidian can do, and I don't use any of it. I literally just, I like Markdown, and I just write it down. And that's all I do. Front end, back end, ML, desktop apps. Yeah, it's everywhere. What's the Is it Electron? Is that? I know that's for applications. I know that's what Discord's built on. Yeah, Electron. There you go. Everywhere. Can we do pair programming any weekend and make a web app in Django? Yeah. I'm building up to stuff like that. The only problem I have is trying to make it interesting. The only reason, hey Jake, thanks for dropping by, man. Really appreciate it. I'm glad that you've enjoying the content, and thanks for sticking a comment in the live stream, mate. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. As I said this before, the problem with I'm just worried that if I do live coding, it'll just be me staring at the screen, and you guys will just find it either hilarious whilst I'm staring at a problem that you can answer, or just boring. I'd rather it was more interactive, and I'm just not sure I've got the balance there yet. I will be doing that. Is there a way to track what customers click on the sites that you don't host without permission? No. Because you'd have to actually get into the admin part of the site, so you'd have to hack or social engineer your way in. Can you make videos on Tkinter? I could do. Do you know, GUIs, I don't find that interesting. Not in Python. Not in anything, really. But I don't understand, like, if you're going to make a GUI app or GUI app, I don't know why you wouldn't just make a web app, because everyone's got a browser. So, sorry, probably not. I also don't know Tkinter at all, or Tkinter web it's called. So, it wasn't. I don't know if I'd be able to provide a lot of value. There is a YouTuber, Python Simplified. She's done quite a lot of stuff on GUIs and had a good uptake. It's just not for me, really. Hour and a half in. Not bad. I feel like this has been a good one. I'll keep talking if I can find some more things to talk about, try and give you guys something interesting to listen to. Going more back to the topic of videos and stuff. I'm looking at different parsers, HTML parsers. The one that Scrapey uses is called Parcel, and I quite like. I haven't used it extensively yet, but I quite like the idea of it. So if you've ever used Scrapey and you use the the commands in there, basically takes that out of Scrapey and puts it elsewhere, which I thought was really interesting. Because I don't like, although I still use Beautiful Soup, I don't like the native selectors. I just use CSS selectors. So, hey Eric. Hey man. Yeah, you have arrived late, mate. It's alright, we're still going for the moment. So yeah, no, I tend to use CSS selectors for that reason. So I was thinking about trying some other HTML parsers. Again, just trying to find a way to package that information so it's interesting, so people will actually want to watch it and think maybe I'll try that. That's what I want to do when I make those sorts of videos. And I'm just getting worried that just me sitting here talking and coding is just not that interesting, or it's only interesting to a really small amount of people. Have you ever thought about music creation with DAWs? Yeah, I've written music. I've got recordings that I could play you, but I'm not going to ever. In fact, never is the answer. Yeah, I used Reaper with the free VSTs for my guitar. I've got my audio interface is Scarlett Focusrite Solo 3rd gen. And yeah, I sometimes record stuff. So I'd love to do more of it, to be honest, but I've got so many other things that I want to do, code and videos and YouTube wise, that I've got to have some downtime. I don't want to work all the time. And B, content creation on Linux, especially music DAWs, is a pain in the arse. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And I really don't want to start booting up Windows for these sorts of things. My Windows installation is just seemingly gone to shit as well. It's just like every time I go in there, Windows Update is trying to do something. Even though I've disabled it, and it just eats my RAM and my processor for ages. Anyway. Any courses you recommend? Courses for what? What are you trying to learn? Probably not is the answer. I have very mixed feelings about courses, which is why I haven't made one myself. I'd like to, but I'd want to make it so I want it definitely to provide good value to the target audience I'm going for. And I just worry because I think too many people just throw something together and upload it and just make a quick buck, and I really don't want to do that. Don't really like that. VST apps for sound manipulation. Yeah, so I was using, I can't remember the name. There's loads of free VSTs. I listen to metalcore music, so I want the heavy guitar sound. So yeah, it's cool. Should look into Blender scripting. Bloody hell. Yeah, that'd be great. I don't know anything about Blender, but I'm sure I could write some scripts for it. I think it's fascinating that you can do all that sort of stuff, because you can write scripts for like Photoshop and GIMP as well. Fancy. Nice live stream chat. Is there a Discord? I think you might be trolling. If you're not, I'm sorry. What camera do I use? It looks crisp. It's a Panasonic Lumix G7, but it's not the camera. I've got the YouTube streamer lens, the Sigma 16mm 1.4. That's why it looks like this. That's what everyone uses. Although most people use it on their Sony camera, so I don't have a Sony camera. Just didn't want to spend their money. Best ORMs. For Python, just use SQL Alchemy. Although I do like Tortoise. Did a video on that. I like Tortoise because I'm used to the Django RM. Hey Doggo, nice of you to join us again. Are you a Linux buff? I know enough to get by. I use Ubuntu and I use i3WM. I get it to a point where it's enough functionality for me, and I go from that, and I don't bother with loads of random stuff. Discord would be helpful. Yeah, so The only reason why I mentioned that you is because we had a lot of conversation over the last few live streams about getting a Discord. I wasn't sure whether you were part of that or not. Yes, there will be a Discord. I just need to pull my finger out and sort it out for people. So there you go. My phone's still going. And also, yeah, no, I've used Linux as my daily driver for several years now. I do have a dual boot for Windows, but I never use it, which is why it's just destroyed by Windows updates every time I try and go on there. The only time I use it is that I get that real crave. I'm like, oh, maybe I should play games again, and I play for 5 minutes, and I don't want to play games. I'd rather just write some code. Cheers, Mel. Thanks for joining, man. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being active in the chat as well. Enjoy your day. Windows 7 still works mostly. Yeah, mine's Windows 10. I updated to Windows 11 on my work laptop, and it's the work. I don't know what's wrong. It was fine for a bit, and now my what used to be snappy, decent enough Lenovo laptop takes forever to start up. Annoying. I don't care enough to try and fix it though. I just either don't turn it off or just work laptop. It's fine. I think it's cool that desktop allows for adding function. Yeah, absolutely. I do too. I think it's great. More advanced scraper usage. Yeah, I'd like to. The only reason, one of a few reasons why I haven't is finding interesting things to show and show them in an interesting way. And also when you go down the sort of niche like that, you just get a really small audience, and the amount of effort it takes is up here, and your audience is down here. So it's kind of difficult. I think advanced stuff like that, especially because once you get beyond the beginner stuff, you can use the documentation and really teach yourself. But Scrapey doesn't use async. It's Twisted framework, which is sort of inherently async anyway, so you don't have to worry about that. I've never used Firebase. No, I never have actually. I have very limited database experience, really. I just tend to use Postgres and dump everything in however I need the models to be. There's some cool apps for planning out all your models and stuff, which I've used before, which is quite cool. But no, have I tried using Wine? Not for a really, really long time. Have a good one, thanks. Hey, thanks you. Thanks for stopping by. If that means that you're going, thanks for stopping by. I'll make sure you get a Discord invite when it comes up soon. Yeah, cool. Can I do a video on scraping with the Amazon API? I could do. Again, small audience, that's the only thing. And I don't like using it. That's just really weird. Hard to describe. Because you have to have an affiliate account, etc., and have X amount of sales to be able to access it. More videos on a path to scale up. Yeah, I want to do some more stuff like that, Eric. Scaling is the hardest part. I think that's why it just translates into quite a complicated video to try and explain, because it's not very. There's no just do this. It's all quite unique in my experience, anyway. So for error handling. It's something just happened. Check my video and audio sync again, would you please? With error handling, I would say generally speaking, you want to put good logging in whatever you're doing, so you can actually see what's happening all the time. and try to handle specific errors as you would expect to see them, rather than generic errors. I don't particularly like Python's error handling though, compared to Go's, where Go just gives you, it's out now. Yeah, I know what the problem is. Gotta go, thanks for the stream. Cheers, David. Thank you for coming by. How about now? Is it back? I know what happened. If it's fine now, I know what happened. Thanks for the videos. Hey man, appreciate it. I'm glad you've enjoyed them. I'm glad they helped. The Reddit API. Yeah, I did a bit of stuff with Pro right at the very, very beginning. But not recently. Not recently. Hopefully my audio and video is back synced properly. Have to wait for someone to tell me. Close but very slightly off. Okay, cool. Well, I think I'm going to end in a minute anyway. But my screensaver kicked in. I think it's destroyed it. Not screensaver, but my it kind of turns my screen off. I think that was the problem. I should have just disabled it. Anyway, I'll check it back when I look back through the stream, about an hour 43. But yeah, so no, this was a good one. I enjoyed this one. Oh, the only other thing that a lot more people have left now, actually, I was going to ask was functional style object. I always just use functional. I don't really do OOP too much. I think I probably should, but everything I do is functional, really. I find it makes the most sense to me. The other thing I was going to ask was, I'm thinking I would like, if anyone's a designer, I want new artwork for my channel. I want a consistent, because now I'm streaming more, I want to have it all consistent. I'm also thinking about rebranding slightly, as in just going to John WR as opposed to my full names. Nothing drastic. Fiverr. I'd really rather take a recommendation from someone than just pick someone on Fiverr. I have a new Windows 11 laptop. Anything to consider getting Python scrapey working? For me, if I'm going to do any work on Windows, I'm using WSL2, Windows Subsystem for Linux. I'm doing everything through there, probably with VS Code. And I'll install everything through that. I'll do it all that way. I just prefer it that way. In fact, I just watched a Forest Knight video about it recently as well. I don't know if he's always done it like that. You have a friend who's a great graphics designer? Yeah. I'd be interested in talking to him. I know these things cost money. I'm not cheapskate. So if you wouldn't mind, would you mind emailing me his email, and I'll ask him and see if he's interested. Or if you don't want to, for whatever reason, that's fine with me too. You've always liked that you use my full name. Okay. I just feel like it's my email's on my main YouTube page. If you don't mind finding it, save me typing it out. I went through a lot of stress trying to think of the right YouTube name for this channel when I was creating it. So I just used my full name. All right, I'll leave it for now. I'm kind of tempted just to do my full name. I don't know. It just feels a bit odd. I was thinking, or maybe I just ditched my middle name. I don't know. It just feels a bit weird. Doesn't matter. But I would like to update all my my channel artwork and maybe have a new profile picture as well. But I'm not so bothered about that. Do I automate any tasks on my operating system with code? Loads. But then I use Linux i3, so it's not Python code, it's all other stuff. Whatever the i3 stuff's written in. I have I have two monitors, this one, and this one. I have a 32-inch here as my main monitor, and my 27's off to the side vertical. But I find that if I have them both on when I'm working, I often look to my left too much and it starts to give me neck pain. So I have that off almost all the time, and I just split windows on my main one. It's on now obviously because my stream's on there, but I have a script that configures it all when I turn it on, so it gets everything set up how I want it to. Stuff like that. That's about it really. Cool. Yeah, thanks for coming by. Oh, I froze for a moment. Thanks for coming by, Crazy Fanatic Man. It's good to see some familiar faces popping in and out. It really makes it feel like people enjoy it. Not that you obviously say that you don't, but no, I really appreciate it. I'll definitely do more of these, as you can tell. But I'm hoping to do a couple a week, honestly. I think they're great. I really enjoy them. I want to do code, all that stuff I've talked about. Video scheduled, yeah, you missed all of that, I'm afraid. Sorry, you just have to catch them when they come out. Thanks for coming by, Baz Hard. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Cheers, Eric. Doggo, if you don't mind sending me your friend's email if you can find it. And I'm also there is a Discord coming, and I know some of you guys have offered to help, and I will be taking you up on that. Just need to kick it off. Just get all the figure out what the right channels are and stuff, etc, etc. Yeah, Hex, that's really cool. Appreciate that, man. Really cool. Right, I'm gonna go now. MMD, hello and bye. Sorry, it's right at the end of the stream, so I'm gonna go. Just message him. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'll have a chat with him, and if we can work something out, that'd be great. I much prefer getting recommendations for people than just picking random people off Fiverr. It's the same way you should get developers as well, by the way, if you need work done. Anyway, thanks very much for stopping by, guys. Totally appreciate it. It was really good fun, just like yesterday as well. Aiming for 2 of these a week. Not sure about a schedule and time. More stuff to come, blah, blah, blah. Thanks for coming by. Really enjoyed the chat. Thanks to everyone who's actually contributed to the chat too, which, looking at the numbers, looks like most people. So that's really, really cool. Super. And I think I found out why my audio and video goes out of sync too. So that's even better. So thanks very much, guys. And I'll see you next time.